Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focus TV with me, Toby Babb. Now this is a face you may well be familiar with if you watched from a couple of months ago. Haider and I met each other at the FinCrime 360 event just down the road here at Old Billingsgate. And he's back on the show because there's a lot more to tell. We had a little snippet at that event and I knew it was something there which I wanted to catch up on and talk a little bit more. You reached out at the start of the year. We had a lovely breakfast, the King's sausages.
Oh, yes.
and we spoke a little bit more about BIGTXN and everything you're doing. It sounds like this year is one of the most exciting years you've ever had as a business. And I'm so pleased that we can get into it, to dive into it in a little bit more depth. So, Haider, lovely to have you on the show. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you, Toby, for having me.
So listen, let's... as I said before, you've been on the show before. We have a little intro for there, but people who may have missed that particular episode, give us a bit of a background to yourself and to the business.
Sure, thank you. So I'm Haider Mannan. I'm the CEO and founder of BIGTXN, and I've been doing this now for about just over 4 years in terms of building a disruptive data processor and data provider that is involved mainly in the investment screening space. Mostly to do with sanctions, but we are also diversifying our product suite. So I'm very excited to be here today, Toby, and to tell you more about all the things that are happening in our world. It's an honor.
It's a pleasure from my side of it all, and I love this. Where you're going with the company. I've always loved sort of founder-led stories. I love seeing companies grow and rise. I love people who are doing things differently. And I think you're in just such a fascinating space. If you talk about sanctions on the one side of it all, but you also talk about data and everything in this sort of world, it's one of those pieces which I just think has got so much potential, so much insight. And I think there's nothing hotter in the marketplace at the moment with what's happening in it all. So loads to crack into. You mentioned some exciting developments. We'll come on to that in a second. But let's have a look at the market as a general sort of play. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening geopolitically. There's a huge potential in terms of what we're seeing from a tectonic shift, I think, technology-wise, and a lot that falls in the middle of it. I think regulation is going to be something that comes up more and more. We're seeing a huge, swathe of opportunity and threat around financial crime. There's so much to get into. Tell me a little bit about where you think some of the things that 2026 brings and what's going to be hitting the headlines.
Sure. I mean, if we just look at the message that came out of Davos, I didn't get to attend this year because I was busy with the launch of a new product. I would happily take you with me next year if you'd like to go. They always say, for what the year holds, do the opposite of what they say at Davos. So this year's theme was conveniently the global collective. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We are seeing a massive amount of fragmentation on every dimension of the economic and sub-economic layers that we're dealing with. So for financial institutions, obviously the most difficult part of any part of their outlook is uncertainty. So we are faced with a lot of uncertainty at the moment. This is due to several different geopolitical situations. We've seen just before Davos how Europe was on the defensive with the Greenland situation, something that we would have never imagined last year or in our lifetime,
storm, wasn't it, out there at Davos as well?
Yeah, and then of course the subsequent back rowing that happened, refocusing on Iran, building up the armada back in the Middle East for the US. These are all developments that are symptomatic of what I've recently learned is a word called multi-sphere geopolitical risk, which means that because of the fragmentation, and I owe this really to a friend at Dragonfly who I recently encountered in the Middle East, and they spoke about the multi-sphere. And the multi-sphere is when you are living in a fragmented or structured chaotic system, and you're doing business with a country, whereas you're supplying them weapons, for example, but you're also taking oil from them, and then you have a relationship based on many different types of supply chain effects. So while they're being armed by you, and you have that tit for tat relationship, but you also have a relationship where they might not be your friends because they're also buying something from Russia or they're buying something from China, in as much as the magnitude of that supply affects your trade situation.
Yeah.
So I think the Americans have worked this out well. I mean, good for Trump that he has used the tariff tool a lot. But it's also, I think, woken the rest of the world up to the fact that, this is no longer the world we were accustomed to. This is not a textbook case anymore.
Yeah.
And we will have to play the game from the other side.
Yeah.
So we will see consolidation at some point in terms of other unions forming, other types of currency groups forming. We'll see a coalescing of crypto-based networks. These will all happen in response to the effects of the system that is now being dissolved. Because for any system that is being replaced, you will have something to replace it with, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It happens over time. And so for the next, I think, 5 to 7 years, we will see the build-up to that new global order. This word has been misused a lot. The new world order, the new global order. In my view, there is no, because an order means something that is stable.
Yeah.
It is structured. It is harmonious for the time that it exists.
Yeah.
But in the view of many geopolitical scientists, of which there are few that I truly do respect, the order isn't finalized until these networks have really truly formed.
Yeah. Listen, I loved it when we spoke at the start of this year as well, and hearing how you sort of view the world and what sort of insight you get to it. It just shows that I guess a sort of canvas where there's so much opportunity within it, and we're seeing things change. You mentioned the tariffs, you mentioned various parts of it. And I know you react to that, and I know you as a business are looking at the opportunities within that, and that's where you're situated. And whispers get to me about Project Sparrow, for example, where you're sort of sat. So, indulge you on that. Tell me a little bit about what that means, what you're doing, and why you're so excited about that.
Thank you. So, firstly, I think you're right. Sanctions like, and tariffs, export controls, these are tools of the new economic warfare that we are seeing, nation against nation, or system against system.
Yeah.
So the world will very much be dominated by these as opposed to the physical wars that we were accustomed to, and even those will be fought mostly autonomously in the future.
Do you think it happens like this? So I go back to, Neville Chamberlain and appeasement and all that sort of thing, and you saw how that went, and then it ended up in force. Do you think this is a sort of phony war before physical war, or is it genuinely a new order that we're looking at?
So I think we generally are looking at a new order.
Yeah.
Right. So we are talking about major systemic changes. Which we're talking about the dissolution of NATO, perhaps. We're talking about the dissolution of the UN, being replaced by Trump's peace board. We're talking, these are post-World War II orders.
Yeah.
That are being moved aside.
Yeah.
And where there's no like-for-like replacement.
Yeah.
So we will see the formation of a brand new system.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
So.
It's change, isn't it?
Change is scary. Change is scary. It's about how that new order will operate.
Yeah.
Will it be something that will be friendly towards the rest of the axis, which they claim or the order claims is not friendly.
Yeah.
So the unfriendly part of the axis has always really been Russia, China. Will India take a side?
Yeah.
Those are the questions. And if I look at it and I'm overstretching this by a lot because I'm taking a macro view here when I may perhaps not be qualified to take that view, but when it comes to the establishment and the enforcement of any new order, it does come by force. So whether that force then requires a physical war or it requires some sort of a substitution of
regime shift.
Of regimes, those are also not easy to do.
Yeah.
Although what has been pulled off in Venezuela has been remarkable for any leader, right? Because I think I was given kind of an analogy where Iraq, it took 6 years after the event to be able to establish oil revenues again.
Yeah.
And here it took like 6 days.
Yeah.
So it was a very different scenario. But coming back to Project Sparrow, we have kept it really well hidden.
Time to release. Let's get the genie out the bottle.
We've been tinkering with an idea where we spoke to a number of financial institutions, corporates. We are very well versed with the sanction space, and I think we were stepping up to become an authority in that space. And so we thought, let's talk to the people. Let's see what their problem is, and let's see what their challenges are. And so we came across something that was quite unique, in that given the rise of sanctions and given the rise of sanctions-like regulatory tools, it came down to understanding that there are about 80 regulators or regulatory sources around the world. And in fact, these are growing. So we are actually beginning to see the culmination of more of those kind of sources, because as more sovereigns begin to grip with it, they realize that the policy tools are the best to pursue these actions with. So the big distraction for banks and for players who are involved in the critical latency of sanctions is the time the news takes to get to them before it is actually unpacked and then jockeyed around the financial institution or the bank worldwide before someone tells you that there's a counterparty involved because of the nature of the sanction that could be exposing you to a lot of loss. And then every CRO or person on the risk intelligence side within these businesses is interested in having news yesterday.
Yeah.
They're not interested in that it was a Sunday when the news was published. They should have had it within an hour.
Yeah.
And so we took that kind of approach and we formulated a platform. And we thought, because we didn't have the bench of analysts and newsroom people and anyone else that you could imagine works in that workflow. So what we did is we said, okay, let's just train up a bot, a machine, and deeply prompt it, give it all the kind of inputs and train it. And we started that about 4 months ago. Much to our surprise, in November when we ran the tests, the information was of such a high quality that we almost fell off our chairs because we wanted a sanctions alert to be distributed sub 5 minutes in newsroom quality English to AP guidelines. And we wanted something that was going to be digestible by executives or by frontline staff in plain English. And we are normalizing currently about 10 or 12 different languages. We are dealing with Deutsch, we're dealing with Spanish, and French. So those languages in which those native publications are happening, we're just crunching those things much faster.
Yeah.
So we're doing that, and we are also normalizing the sources. The information is not structured in some cases. It's just PDFs or it's different types of things. But I mean, nowadays you can do this so much quicker.
I know, yeah.
With the machine. And so our ultimate, result from there is that we are able to send a bank a head of sanctions policy or a head of sanctions, head of risk information in sub 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And once that distribution happens, it just makes their life a lot easier.
It's absolutely staggering, isn't it? And it's kind of in line with a lot of the conversations I'm having on a day-to-day basis, just the speed of and evolution of how quickly people are able to utilize new technology to take things that would have taken months that suddenly take weeks, or things that took weeks to take days and days to take hours. And that sort of ability for people to have, as you said, I think you mentioned there, the quality and accuracy is important. And I think what we're going through at the moment is the move from approximately right, never any good in our space, through to actually becoming trusted and having that speed and trust and quality all in cahoots. That's a real opportunity. I think that's where you're sat, right?
Yes.
Which makes this a complete game-changing opportunity.
I think the world is changing in such a way where your secret sauce is no longer a thing, it's a commodity. But I think your secret sauce is becoming your algorithm. The process, the prompt is becoming your proprietary thing. It's because how you have trained the machine and how the machine has reacted to your training and how well you've automated that process is becoming your proprietary thing.
Yeah.
Because machines are available to everyone now. And it's what you do in the quantity of the time that you have available to be able to do something with that.
Yeah.
That makes it different.
Fantastic. And so this is all happening. This is all coming out.
Yes.
You're next to live, aren't you? In terms of
We're about a week and a half away from our.
so by the
soft
time
launch.
this is out, you'll be ready and people will be knowing about it. I wish I could have a scoop on the day, but we're going to be a little bit behind with the log that we've got. But I love being able to talk about it and see it and coming through. And so by the time we actually have this episode's released in April, we'll be sat there with a living, breathing organism, and we'll see exactly how it's gone. So. By that sort of stage, you'd have taken over the world.
Well, I think can't say that we would have. We have some very good hard objectives that we've set ourselves.
Yeah.
I think with any new offering, as an entrepreneur, you've invested time, resource. I hijacked one of my developers, and he's been devoted to it. In fact, to the point that I think a lot of the idea that I had has been expanded and over-enginered by him to the point where we've invented a news desk, end to end. I never wanted to be in the news business. But I've accidentally ended up in the news business. So, but that also brings about something else where you have to learn about the news business. It's a different business altogether. We're in a financial information business, which is distributing data, investment restrictions lists, and things like that to institutions who are processing and using that data. So there's certain technical precision and acumen required.
I guess it's a similar sort of story to, in a way, to Bloomberg and other businesses like that, and how that's sort of developed, right? So it's
it was hard to find the adjacency, though.
Of course.
Because we are in a niche, and then suddenly you end up, looking at it from the perspective of, well, I haven't told you one thing, which is the key differentiator for us, I guess. Yes, it is the algorithm, it is the way by which the machine produces the information, but we also happen to be the owners of sanctions.com. And I think when I looked at the label and how an authority is judged or perceived, then that's when it all came together for us. To say, look, let's make use of this property in such a way where it benefits our end users. And then at the same time becomes a skyscraper of its own.
I mean, you couldn't have a better name for it, could you?
Thank you.
It's one of those top end car number plates, isn't it? You couldn't have a better domain for it. So
do you have a B4BB?
There was a one which I had a little while ago, which was just a BAB, so it's with a T at the start. So. So look, you've kind of touched on this now, and what we've built up as to where it goes, but. If you think about why it's the right time for this sort of thing, and if you think about where you want to go and what you want to achieve with sanctions.com and the brilliantly named Project Sparrow, tell me a little bit about that side of things from it as well.
So as we said in the beginning, geopolitical risk is at all-time high. I foresee that the next 5 to 7 years will bring serious change. A lot of that change will be affected by tools of economic warfare, sanctions, export controls. Quantum computing is on the horizon. There's already a fight for not letting another nation have sovereignty over AI or superiority over AI. So nations will start blocking that technology from going elsewhere to their competitive nations. So going back to the multisphere story, right? You're exchanging things like weapons and oil, but you don't want to exchange AI. Quantum computing is a huge risk because it has the ability to defeat types of encryptions and sensitive gatekeeping mechanisms almost instantly. So these are the hypersonic missiles of the future, and you would not want these even in the hands of your partners. So when we look at the world in that way, we think we will be able to then provide a service which captures and very much distributes timely information to the players that need it, whether it's to control risk, whether it's to make much better informed decisions for their own business strategies, or for their strategies in terms of expansion, going into specific regions, withdrawing from regions, because there may be that build-up of a sentiment, or there may be the risk of losing your business interests to those unfavorable nations who may not want to do business there. Because at any time when sanctions do happen, it's like the ultimate way. It's the ultimate way to control capital from flowing to those sources where it's not supposed to go to.
Yeah.
And given that the U.S. has used this so much in the past, I think I mentioned the book Choke Points to you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
If you kind of read that, I think part of this sanctions.com idea solidified with Choke Points.
Yeah.
Because as I was listening to the book on Spotify, I realized how much of the world is about to change.
Yeah.
But the mechanism by which that change is happening is bloodless.
Yeah.
So where are we in that?
Yeah.
And I think it's not so much about capturing revenue, which ultimately, of course, any good product does become its own source of revenue. It was about creating that brand cognition.
Yeah.
With BIGTXN.
Yeah.
Being in the space that we are, and then
They feed each other. Yeah.
broadening that. So one thing feeds the other,
Yeah.
in a sense, because we have the platform, the engineering skills, and now also the AI skills
Yeah.
to build products like this, and to build channels like sanctions.com.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think what we may end up becoming is a provider of information where there's adjacency to our core product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that really helps us, in terms of seeing ourselves through to the next part of our journey.
And speaking of the journey, and speaking about that sort of play, look, as I said, I love talking to people on this show about their journey. I love seeing companies that have come from an idea into a business, into gaining momentum and gathering momentum and taking off and doing some things. And we've had a number of different people on here who've gone to exit, who've gone to big raises, who've been on that sort of journey. But we've often spoken about it from a sort of founder position. You talked there about sort of growth and adjacency and vision and pivoting to an extent, which was a dirty word pre-2020 and now becomes very much part of a good business strategy. Pivoting could potentially be something which you're talking about here. It's about moving things further forward. But within that journey, sometimes I think we sit there and think, well, it's just an easy pathway. And we don't look at the sort of role of the CEO within that and the decisions that are made and the stress that comes with it, as well as all of the glamour on the top end of it. I know you've been flying around the world and doing some outside looking in some really cool things. I've seen you all over the place doing some really exciting talks, really exciting ventures. But I know that it's also a challenge around that as well. So talk to me about your biggest challenges in this journey that you've had so far over the last few years, and if there's make or break moments in it, and how you navigated this journey so far. Because I know you love it, but I know it's an absolute vocation and labour of love and all this sort of stuff. But I know labour comes into that conversation as well. So give us the story there.
Well, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that you're never a CEO to begin with. You may be a founder of something.
Every day is a new day. It's something you haven't picked up, right?
Yes. And there's no textbook that helps you out with that. You can do as many MBAs as you want, but when you're in the situation, it's a different thing. And so what I say is that I think it takes some time to graduate to CEO level.
Yeah.
So as a CEO now, I think it took 3 years before I recognized what my role was.
Yeah.
And for those first 3 years, I literally sat down and coded the platform, built the products, hired the team, and fired people in the process as well, where, as I said to you before, they're good. They're people that are good for the journey, and they're people that you realize very quickly are not that good for the journey. So you have to make course corrections. You have to be decisive.
Or for all the right people at the right time. Some people are great at the start, not great for them. It doesn't have to be different.
And we've had people right from the very beginning still with us. We've had new people come along and join us. And I think that any part of the journey at every phase, you'll have a requirement for a different type of, a team. But as long as the founding team remains with you for most of that journey, that's a good sign that you are operating stably. So leadership, I had to learn leadership. I had, I had managed people before, but not to this extent. And I think that the HR thing is one of the most demanding processes in a CEO's life. Generating revenue, making sure that bills are paid, suppliers are paid.
You're a technologist. You're a salesperson.
You're wearing
your
so many
marketing.
different hats.
Yeah.
But then when you get to that level where I say when you graduate to a CEO, is when you start actually properly delegating, and you start trusting your people. To do the best they can to the same level of ability that you were perhaps doing it, it's about letting go.
Yeah.
I see many CEOs who are hung on until 10 years of the journey. By that time, they're already, kind of burnt out. Because, you have to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah.
So at the 3-year mark is when, obviously, I started understanding my own health concerns. I started understanding that if I kept on doing what I was doing, I would drive myself into a hole. So it was pulling back, letting go, delegating, and at the same time, taking more breaks. And now I say I have to take 4 distinct breaks a year.
Yeah.
Because I'm pushing very hard for the first part of the year, I take a break. Second part of the year, I come back, reset, and I push equally as hard. And so those pushes are great because they're coming with the ferocity, with the tenacity, with the kind of idea that you are going to deliver on that quarter.
Yeah.
And then you're also getting time to breathe.
Yeah.
So a very good friend of mine, she said to me, come up for air regularly. Just make sure you do.
How are you doing it? Are you okay with taking time off? Are you okay with switching off?
It was a difficult thing to me.
Yeah.
I will say that, I'm sure you recognize that you just can't fully switch off.
Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing. I mean, for me, I know I say that with hesitation because what I mean by is I love having breaks. I love being with the family. I love going away. But
yes,
there is always something there where if I don't know stuff,
it drives you nuts.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. So when you're running a business, I think it's that piece there where yes, you're on holiday, but you've got to be thinking at the same sort of time of what's going on. And if I've got the information that comes through to me, I'm fine.
Yes.
But if I get silence,
yes,
I can't switch off, and I don't need to. I don't want to have that complete separation because it's very much part of actually running this business over the last 16 years has become very much part of the family.
So the analogy that I give my wife is the one that you may want to use as well.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I'm magpieing anything.
You're a rocket.
Yeah.
You're shot into orbit.
Yeah.
You can't switch off and then expect just to reignite and go again.
Yeah.
So you have to, even if it's where your burn comes down of energy to a small amount, but you're still switched on. You're traveling.
You can put the burners on again.
Then you can just increase the burn again when you want to.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And then family life is very important.
Of course.
To kind of help us psychologically navigate some of these circumstances.
Yeah.
I've always wanted, nowhere where you say you're in so many different places at once. But I do that also because I have people in those places, friends, family sometimes, other business partners, other CEOs, suppliers, customers who I can hang out with. Play golf with. Do things like that. It really helps you to overcome any loneliness. Because being a founder is a lonely place. I found that out in the first 3 years. And then I said I never wanted to be like this again. And so I made those things happen for myself. So that I can keep myself occupied and switched on without having to completely switch off.
Fantastic. And in terms of your vision, let's finish off with that. How we move further forward. Look, the business is a phenomenal business. This is an exciting addition to what you're doing. It's got this platform in place that could go. Really, talking about the rocket ship. There's a great analogy there to where you're set up to travel now. Tell us a little bit about what that future expansion looks for, where you go.
I think if you're a founder of something or ideator of something, someone once told me that if you don't have an exit in mind, you're just an employee. So I guess I can't really speculate on what my exit would look like at this stage because I'm enjoying it so much, and with every day that you do it, it gets better. But then there comes a terminal point at which you are faced with a fork in the road. Because a CEO who is a founder, entrepreneur, can do it with 20, 40, 60 people, and you reach a terminal point. Learning how to do it or expanding your own capacity to do it when you're a company of, say, 100 or 200 people requires a different bench of governance, a different bench, a different board, a different mentality. And of course, by that time, your revenues have also scaled, hopefully past the 10 million ARR mark, going on to 20, going on to 30. And so companies like that will then need a different style of leadership. I am already, sold on that fact that I will perhaps not be the lifetime CEO of this venture.
Yeah.
Whichever shape it stays in, whether it's independent or it's consumed by another, operator in the market. That is what happens in our world. You've seen it so many times. It's a consolidation game, where some firm may not have this capability, but they may have a go-to-market channel for it, and they want to, not build it but buy it.
Yeah. And with where you're sat, you're not going to be sure to take us for that sort of thing as well, I would imagine.
That's true. We do get knocks on the door.
Yeah.
It's a space which is very dynamic.
Yeah.
But also highly complex enough that it dissuades many shops from building this thing for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Perfect spot.
it is a perfect spot.
Yeah.
So if you ask me, how much longer, I can probably say, another 2 to 3 years may well be the limit of my abilities, which I recognize, will not be effective for managing the team or the business. It may well be that I just focus on one thing, like creating revenue or creating product. That may be the single focus of my existence. But then as a founder, you're also sometimes faced with the fact that you don't want to be living under the shadow of a CEO of a company that you created.
Yeah.
You'd rather just happily sit by as a chair.
But I think there's an awareness there of what you can do and where you can be most effective.
Yes.
And if you can say, look, I recognise where my skills sit and bring people in there who can, I guess, counter those or augment those in those sort of things and do the things that you aren't, it's a great tell where it goes. That's a great situation. That to me is great leadership about where you look at what that looks like.
I would say you have hit the nail on the head. Also the team that you built.
Of course, yeah.
The people that you trust. If you bring in good people in the beginning, those good people hire other good people. It's like a network effect.
Yeah.
So we're building a company. When you get that network effect and everything works well, it's because of your initial hiring decisions.
Yeah.
And then you can outlast it. I've seen people doing it for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
But
longevity. The performance stamina is one of my favourite words, which I think is underused, and I think that sort of piece is an incredibly respected thing to look at around it. And I was rereading Good to Great recently, one of my favourite books by Jim Collins, and. I had to write it down straight away again because I'd forgotten about it. But he talks about the classic sort of line that people are your greatest asset, and he says they aren't. People aren't your greatest asset. The right people are your greatest asset. And when you can get that bit right and you put those sort of people in place, great things happen. I know that's something which you're going to look at and you're doing a great job with so far. So Haider, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I'm so pleased to have you back in the studio this time as well, where we could go into it in a bit more detail. It feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes. We've actually sort of had the waves from behind the camera, so we're there. We know we're over time, but I loved it, and it's been great talking to you. And thank you also so much for these. Haider mentioned his golf earlier on. If you're out there and need a great golf partner, this man's brought his clubs over to the studios today as well. So I really appreciate this. It's lovely to see you. And best of luck with it all. Really excited about Project Sparrow, sanctions.com. Go and look it up. If people want to find out a little bit more, if they speak to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
I think it will be sanctions.com. That will become our label.
Keep your eyes peeled. Well, listen, thank you very much. Thank you all for watching. And we will see you very soon on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.